What's up, Sons Geek?
Let's talk about Cam Johnson, because I kind of want to put this to bed, if you will. I think that's a better way to put it. I kind of just want to put this to bed. You know, I made a YouTube short about it. It's been posted everywhere. There's lots of people talking about it. And we're going to get to some more important stuff later. And we can even react to what Cam Johnson said if you want. I don't have the video, but I do have the actual quote here. Cam Johnson said, "Either way, I'm excited to play this year. That doesn't change anything about what's going on right now, or what's going on now. It doesn't change my approach. I was excited for this season for many reasons, and the contract doesn't necessarily fit into that in terms of change." He later on said, "I would have loved to come to a conclusion. I love it here, but the fact of the matter is that I'm here for this year, and that is what I'm focused on. I'm excited. We've got a good group. We've had a good group. We want to win a championship." So, and again, he said some other stuff, but that was just kind of the full takeaway from at least what I took away. So, first off, he's not wrong. Cam Johnson is a very smart dude. I think he would make a great broadcaster one day, or a good coach. And I'm serious. Even if he's just like an assistant or like a scout or something like that, or a consultant, I think he would make a great coach or a NBA staff member of some kind. He's a very smart dude. And if I'm correct, one of his agents or agency is Devin Booker's dad, which is awesome. Let me just keep repeating that one thing he is correct on is that he's focused on the now. You know, he's focused on tonight's game. He's focused on starting all season, which is awesome. And we could have a whole like live show about just Cam Johnson starting, but we're going to have to wait and see. You know what I mean? We're going to have to get some games under the belt to see what Cam Johnson can do as a starter. So I actually really like that he said, you know, we have a great group. I want to be here. Oh, and by the way, that was one thing I didn't quote, was he said, "I love the Valley of the Sun. I want to be here." But he said, "We want to win a championship." Now, I feel like there's one thing that isn't really being talked about enough. And maybe I'm thinking too much of this quote. And we don't really know what was said necessarily. But Mikal Bridges said, and I quote, "He ran it down for me." He was explaining about, you know, Cam Johnson was explaining to Bridges about the contract talks. "He was telling me the situation. Cam's so smart, so he knows and understands everything. I was more confused in not understanding why, and he kind of ran it down for me and made it easier for me to understand." So I wonder what happened. I wonder what that conversation was about. And then Cam Johnson kind of took shots at the Suns ownership, maybe. He said, and I quote, "Negotiations are interesting, especially when the ownership is unclear." Whoa. Am I making too much out of this, you guys? Am I taking those quotes a little too, or am I right? I mean, again, Cam Johnson's a very smart dude. He knows what he's doing. He's probably got great agents. Because again, one of his agents is Devin Booker's dad. So what do you guys think about the Cam Johnson extension? And again, we're going to get to something bigger about the Cam Johnson extension in a minute. DeAndre Ayton also commented on this because he was obviously in a very similar situation, which that's another thing I don't think is being talked about enough. That's kind of why I didn't like make videos or go live when the Cam Johnson thing happened, because I was like, this sounds a lot like DeAndre Ayton's situation, and we all saw how that turned out pretty much. But DeAndre Ayton pretty much said, "You control what you can control. Everybody knows that. Cam is a smart dude. What he does best is focus on him, yada, yada, yada. He's a guy who trusts this team. I'm sure he's in good hands, blah, blah, blah. He loves being in the Valley." So great of very mature of DeAndre Ayton to say that. So again, am I overthinking this Cam Johnson stuff? Is that Mikal Bridges quote? Am I just overthinking all this? I don't know. So the big thing I really wanted to share with you guys, because I'm not really smart enough to understand a lot of the salary cap, the numbers. If you're a salary cap guru, I applaud you, because that stuff is a lot. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And I just want to give a big shout out to my guy, Darth Viota. I always butcher his last name. John from the Suns Jam Session podcast did excellent work in really breaking it all down. I should have linked it in the description, but I will link all this stuff afterwards in the description. Go follow John on Twitter. He wrote like a huge thread on just all this stuff. And I'm not saying he's like 110% right about everything, but he's not wrong. Like, he really broke it down, kind of trying to explain the numbers to us, explain what James Jones is doing. And that's another thing that I don't think is being talked about enough. I feel like James Jones did that for a reason. They couldn't come to an agreement for a reason. And maybe it's on Cam Johnson's agents. Maybe they're being greedy. I don't know. Maybe Cam Johnson was being greedy. Maybe instead of blaming James Jones, maybe we could blame Cam Johnson. I don't know. But I really want to recommend going to John's thread, reading it, and then let me share my screen one more time. Sorry, guys. One-man show here. Stop sharing screen. Got to go to this screen. Sorry, guys. Go to brightsideofthesun.com. They do great work over there. Here's another article, which was also written by John. And just go read that. It's more of like an in-depth article and everything. Breaks everything down. I'm kind of scrolling it so you guys can see and everything. Brightsideofthesun.com. Go check it out. Go read John's work. He does great work over there. And then shout out to the Suns Jam Session podcast. Those are my guys over there. I've been on their show a lot. You know, they're going to be going live after every game this season. So go check them out. Go show them love. So that's really it. I kind of just wanted to give my thoughts about this Cam Johnson stuff, kind of put it to rest until further notice. You know what I mean? Because I feel like after tonight, that will kind of be like in the back of our heads, and we won't really be talking about it as much unless something is said, or if something gets brought up, something gets brought into light. I don't know. So again, I want to hear from you guys on all this Cam Johnson stuff. Manuel says Suns will win and Cam Johnson scores 16 points. If Cam Johnson can average 16 points this season, I think that's a W. Because if I'm correct, all the games he did start, I think he did average 16 points. Someone correct me if I'm wrong about that. And he shot really good percentages too.
Obviously, with the contract not getting the extension, just how are you taking that in? And what's the last few hours been like for you?
Kind of just moving on. Either way, I'm excited to play this year. It doesn't change anything about what's going on now. It doesn't change my approach. You know, I was excited for this season for many reasons, and the contract doesn't necessarily figure into that in terms of change. But I mean, obviously, I would have loved to come to a conclusion. You know, I love it here. I tell you guys that every time. But you know, the fact of the matter is, I'm here for this year, and that's what I'm focused on. And I'm excited. We got a good group. We've had a good group, and you know, we want to win a championship. And that's our goal. And it starts with today's practice every day from now until the end of the season.
One of the things that you said even months ago was that you had a perspective that you knew it was a business.
Right.
And how much is that helping you deal with it, knowing that it is a business?
There's layers to that question, right?
Right.
As I think to a certain extent, you have to separate the business side from the personal side. And the fact of the matter is, I love playing here, you know, and I think I can put the business side away. Those business negotiations are done. That box won't be reopened for a number of months now, so I can put that behind me, put that out to the side, and focus on playing, focus what I'm actually here to do, and that's what I plan on doing. But like I said, the business side and the emotional playing, you know, what we do in this building side are disconnected, are different, are separate. You have to look at things through a little bit different of a lens when you're going through business than when you're on the court. And I think just putting that business, closing that box, like I said, putting that to the side, I think that is relatively easy. You know, obviously I do want to be here. I love my time here, but I'm here is the main thing. I have a whole nother year. What's up, Sons Geek?